There we go. Microphone. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Hello, I am Chef JT. Happy to see all of you back. Few hiccups getting stream started today, but everything should hopefully be smooth sailing now. I hope. I hope you all are wonderful. Having a great day. Thank you so much for the early raid. Thank you for that, Alpaline. Hopefully you've had a wonderful stream. Would love to hear what you've been up to. Let's start off with a little coffee. Hopefully you've all had a good finish to your week. Anything new and exciting to report as my camera goes nuts behind me? Let's see if we can't resolve that. Not sure what's going on there. And I can't really hear myself right now, but you can all hear me, and I am massively loud, and my music is massively loud in my ear. That solves that. Pauline made an adult version of Kid Cuisine frozen dinner. Ooh, I remember those. They were like the original Dino Nuggets. At least as I remember. But one did she do? She, they, them? I'm unsure, making assumptions. But I remember those. I think I've had one of those before. I'm glad it turned out all well. Alright. I'm doing Korean chicken tonight. Or some form of Korean chicken. Yeah, let's just not call it. It's gonna be at best American Korean chicken. I'm gonna try out the Momofuku sauce that he isn't even directly calling gochujang. He's calling it gochujang with soy sauce and other things incorporated. And I'll be using it just straight up, I think. I'm going to take another look at the ingredients and see if for sure, but... So we're doing fried chicken, doing it Korean style, basting it in gochujang sauce. Gochujang is normally like a paste, and like traditionally Korean chicken is usually more of like a gochujang paste mixed with some sort of ketchup or some other sweetening agent. Yeah, stream is a little rough tonight. I'm not sure why it's that, but it is recovering. In fact, it's looking pretty level now the last 30 seconds or so. But yes, network not very happy right now. Welcome in, everyone. Happy to have everybody here. Why is this chat paused? I want to see what's going on now, not from last stream. Hello there, SoFlo. Welcome in, Nan Raider. Hello, Will Poker. Let's see there. Riza Swim. Happy to have you in. Hello, Abby Mark. What went on here? Is it dead? I think Ganglecram is dead. I do just before stream so that it isn't loud and noisy on stream. Occasionally I forget and I have to mute. But tonight I didn't have to. It worked out all right tonight. I just realized why that camera might have been freaking out. Because I'm using the network. That camera back there, the face detection stuff, is actually running on a completely different computer tonight. So it may be a little bit more buggy as it sorts itself out, but yeah, tested on multiple things now and usually works. It's sort of odd. I guess we all have our preferences when it comes to coffee. It's probably coffee and eggs are probably the two things you should never try and make for someone the way they want them done. Just come up with something wild and wacky and say, why don't you try it this way? I like it doing it this way. Instead of any chance of coming anywhere close to what they want. Because coffee, like, I love a good pour over. At the same time, I have such an American coffee profile to my tastes that the whole idea of a pour over is almost ruined by what I want to do with it. Only doing a little heavy, or rather whole milk tonight. Not as impressive. I redid the batteries in my whip too. So yes, if anyone out there who's like coffee aficionado, loves all of the, individual regional roasts, is got it down to the altitude that they like their beans from what country, that sort of a thing. Yeah, that's not me. I do enjoy a good coffee, but yeah. regardless of how you like your coffee, I'm glad you joined me for mine. Cheers, everyone. I mean, I've had some real, over the years, even here on stream, I've had some really fruity coffees in the past. I've had some heavily fermented noted coffees. I've had ones that didn't have fermented notes and were like light as teas. There are all sorts of coffees, and most of what they sell in the US here, if you're in the US, or I would assume most of North America, is not, unless you're in like a specialty place and you're getting those individual cool roasts. At one point I was working with coffee, and I was talking with a business in Sonoma County that I doubt exists anymore, but they were doing small batch individual like origin coffees, all sorts of different, like they had like 30 different coffees available, which is sort of ridiculous, and it's probably why they didn't make it. But at the same time, I got to sit there and try like 20, 30 different coffees with them, talking with them, and them being like honest about it because they want me to sell their coffee, or at least to a degree honest about it. I just didn't see how I was going to ever be able to sell any of them. Like, if you got a spot that's comfortable and cozy for people to come back to and you can give them those options, that's awesome. But I was a business at the time that was at farmers markets, seeing people maybe once a year in some cases. I'm not going to be able to sit there and first be able to tell what their preferences are to sell them the proper coffee. But two, I'm not going to, like, a place like that is changing their coffees up constantly, and so I'm not going to have good return, sale on that. I'm not going to, and so it just didn't work. Didn't work for them either. They had a cutesy little coffee shop with what was the name of those? Someone was bringing it up on stream the other day. The coffee makers where the water pressure pushes it in the top one, and then it comes back through to filter through the coffee. They're fancy. They're either done with the flame or with a UV lamp or little mini burner. They're sort of hard to control. They're very cool to see. They're pain in the butt to clean. Like a royal pain in the butt to clean. But they were running an actual coffee shop using those. Or at least having those as an option. So where are we starting here with our dinner tonight? I think we need to get started with chicken. How about that? Does that work for all of you? We need to start our chicken marinade. And chop it all up. Get it all ready. And that didn't flip for any of that, did it? Chicken. So I started stream tonight, and this is probably part of the whole network issues to start. And hopefully it's gotten mostly sorted out. Like, I'm still dropping frames. I haven't changed any of my network settings. I've changed what's going on my network, but there should be more than enough power for that. We don't need Scotty screaming, "I'm giving her all we got," with a fake accent. And mine would be even more fake. From this, as far as this is concerned, this is pushing the same as it was before. Like, there's no difference with where this thing is sending its signals. So maybe it's just actual odd network stuff for today, and not anything to do with what I've done. We're breaking this down into chunks for frying. Actually, that one might be best like that. I was hoping to keep them somewhat large if they're able to be that way. I mean, I can individually watch them and leave them in the oil a little longer if need be. Hi, Melvin. It's a bone chip. Oh, is that maybe it? Well, it's not saving it to there, so it can't be that. It could be that from the other computer, though. Arrgh. What am I gonna mix these all up in? What are we gonna make these hang out together bin? Alright, so we got chicken cut up. I'm going to take the last of my whole milk, which is not much. There's very little left in here. Yeah. That's maybe an ounce and a half. My beans are getting exposed to the air. The top came off. The non-airtight cap came off. I'm going to add 2 dry measure cups of water. Some soy sauce. And some lemon juice. Let's see if that's running fine back here. Is this running okay back here? That's running fine back there. So that's got me thinking that this is just internets. I don't think that's my local network that's messing with my feed tonight. And then into this water, soy and lemon mixture with a little bit of milk. I'm gonna add a bunch of buttermilk powder. Ooh, double raid tonight. Welcome in, Raiders. What were we up to tonight? Thank you so much for the raid. Happy to see all of you. Anyone new in here, hello, I'm Chef JT. I cook here on Twitch 4 nights a week. Doing a sort of more laid back, simpler, quicker dinner tonight, but happy you're here for me to hang out with me. Chef Pete, I am not familiar with you. Are you a food and drink streamer? I'm assuming from your name. You could be a gamer. I'm working on making my marinade here for my chicken. And we're about to actually just go to an ad. And this is my 30-second reminder right there. So I do 3 minutes at the end of every hour, so it'll be another hour without ads if you're stuck with ads. I apologize. I'm gonna add some MSG and pepper in here. while you're at ads. Hey, Chef Pete. Thank you so much for that raid. Homemade chicken pot pie. That's good eating. I'm gonna go ahead and drop all of this chicken in there now. And we're going to allow this to hang out for a bit while we work on other things. Prep the majority of the rest of the dinner. What kind of crust you do on your chicken pot pie? Now it's back to not working. What's up over here, camera? That might be... No, I'm not using it for that. I can't be overloading it with that. I think it's just Comcast. Alright, messed up on that last cut there, but otherwise happy with most of that. Let's get all of this cooking. There is where our problem is likely at. Fun! Let's see, are you saving in the right place? I hope I've got at least one copy. Yeah, you're saving locally. Okay. Warm back here yet, Pan? We're mostly just getting the onions and peppers started, so I know where they're at. I don't have to worry if they're going to take another 10 or 15 minutes. Mostly AP flour, but we'll give it a healthy dose of starch too. Now we need some seasoning in here. Garlic powder. Onion powder. Paprika. Ginger. Nope, 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 nope. Nope, nope, nope. We'll do a little cayenne, but most of the what heat there is going to come from this sauce. I didn't turn you off, did I? I just turned you down. It's like it stopped. Has video returned? I hope it doesn't. Oh. No, it doesn't look like it's returned to be fully stable on Twitch's end, at least. Well, perhaps smart streamers would just cancel a stream on a night like this where things are going like this. That ain't my style. So I apologize to those out there who, like, streaming world, it happens. So I'm just going to continue going, and I'm going to try and make sure that it wasn't a problem my own making overnight. And hopefully by Sunday we'll have a nice clear stream. We'll mix in all of this seasoning with our flour here. Hi, Suki. Thank you for the bits. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that, so. Yes, I'm also aware that streaming is very much a second monitor audience. Second monitor mobile and I actually have a pretty decent number of people watching on TVs. which I think is more akin to my content than your typical Twitch viewer. Alright, these look like they're going pretty well. They're a nice point. I'm going to stop those now. And turn our attention back over here to the cutting board. Come on, color. Let's go, color. Bring our quickly marinated chicken. And we're going to start plumping this down in the flour here. Now for the fun part. I think Suki let everyone know how the easiest way is to get sprinkles for everyone but yourself. Because at least if the code worked right, following, subscribing, gifting in basically any form gives sprinkles to everyone in chat but the person doing the thing. Oh wait, we gotta separate these off temporarily because there's way too many to fit in there in one batch. I got one of those over here. I think I need actually even more flour. Let's get our oil starting though. Let's see. Broccoli, oil, rice, rice, rice. So I need more flour here, and I need you for rice. We'll swap you for you. You'll be good for grabbing rice. Let's get our rice situated now. Yeah, close enough. Two cups. And a little more than 3.5 cups altogether. Give that a quick stir. Salt. Black pepper. MSG. Sesame oil. Lemon. Oh, it is switching for me. Nice. I guess the computer caught up in some senses. I don't know. Well, we'll have to see what's going on there. Definitely, it's partly Sprinklebot going nuts on the network. But I think that sort of calmed down after it realized it wasn't going to work. Bit more flour there for our second dredge. Tabbouleh. That is something I haven't heard of in a minute. So we're going to drop hopefully about half of this back into the liquid mixture here. The sort of buttermilk, but not really. I didn't get the oil started. Darn it. I was supposed to get the oil started. I think that takes me close enough to half. Actually, it might be a complicated fix, but only because my solution is unnecessarily complicated. You see, I recently stopped using this Raspberry Pi that I have with a hat that can have a PCI card in it, because I took that PCI card and put it into an ancient, like DDR3 PC. And one of my possibilities tonight is I overloaded that old school PC. And the other one is I most certainly messed up in not having a Ollama model available that should have been available for captions. And so that is going constantly trying to look for an LLM that's not available to process my captions. And so it is not processing captions tonight. So earlier when I said I was making sure that I have at least some copy of it, I am recording what's being said here. However, it's not being processed the way I want to process them. I'm trying to process my this is doing, in this case, it's just a text file with my captions from tonight. What I'm trying to do, and what I'm working towards, and at one point sort of had jankily running, is I'm trying to extract out the actual information from me talking here that is useful for making a recipe. And so I have a little Whisper model, which is a really small LLM model, like really small, sitting there just trying to figure out, am I talking to chat? Am I saying something about what I'm doing? That's all it's doing. And it can't talk to that right now. It's desperately trying to talk to that, or it gave up to after not getting to it for a while. One of the two. Alright, back into the flour with these. No. Full flame underneath that oil. Hopefully it'll heat up sometime by tomorrow. Oh, by the way, welcome in, Splits. Hopefully you are well. Yeah, that's gonna take a minute. Might as well start our rice while we're waiting. State foods are on Sunday. Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. So we have ingredient challenges on Wednesdays and states and U.S. territories on Sundays. Friday and Monday are whatever I want, or if we get themes. Which, might want to check the channel points. What's happening on Sunday? I honestly have not 100% decided on what I'm doing for Alaska. I've talked about this a couple of times. There's not a ton that Alaska is like, that's ours. It's basically Eskimo ice cream, which I have very little interest in trying. Or salmon. So I'm probably doing salmon. Pacific salmon. Beyond that, hey, Skeleton. For anyone newly joining in, I apologize for any potential network issues. I'm just struggling through tonight. It does seem to have smoothed out a little bit, but I don't know if I don't think it's coming back completely. That's good to hear. There most certainly was packet loss at the beginning of the stream. We're working on fried chicken tonight, Korean style, Korean American fried chicken. We got our chicken, some of it soaked and coated with a single layer of flour. This is on its second layer of flour. We're currently in a pause situation waiting for our oil to heat up for frying. I've got peppers and onions over here ready to go for with broccoli. And then rice is cooking in the back. Yeah. It's one of the things that I have to fight a lot with here on stream too. It's a major, like, you forget to put the oil, like today. You know, I intended to put the oil on earlier than I did. Waiting for the oven to heat up, waiting to water to boil. The big one for everyone, for the majority of people I think out there, is waiting for water to boil. Whether it's for ramen, mac and cheese, for anything else along that line, you know, you're doing pasta, you're doing rice, you're doing... It just takes forever to heat up water. little corner. Just want to wipe the tips off. Just need a little paper towel to wipe the tips off. So this is the sauce I'm trying out tonight. I probably shouldn't. I sort of expect this to not be great, but I'm gonna give this a shot for my gochujang sauce tonight, or alternative for gochujang. Building a gently spicy, perfectly balanced, endlessly versatile blend of gochujang, soy sauce, and other bold umami magic. Isn't marketing lovely? Well, if you've been following the Chili Crunch debacle, buzzwords are apparently very important to the Lucky Peach Company. I forget exactly what the deal was there, but I know with Chili Crunch, they tried to either trademark or copyright some form of name or title or description for the product, and got everyone across the board annoyed at them because they most certainly aren't the only people making Chili Crunch. I've always been iffy on David Chang. Despite knowing people who work or worked with him in the past. Certain the things I've liked about him and his push for certain things I've been cool with, and a lot of the things he's done have been cool. Him as an individual, too many. Like, he did some amazing things with making the restaurant Momofuku and the foods that he was serving there, and then he closed up. Does he even run any restaurants these days? I know he's doing some things, like he's competing against me on YouTube. Except he's got like celebrities to come hang out with him. I hate the word natural. I hate the word fresh. Natural is Actually, no, I hate the word natural too. Like, there's a lot of natural things that I just don't want to eat. Just putting that out there. Like, yeah. Okay, our rice has come to a boil. I'm seeing the steam shooting out of the sides of the cap there, so we're turning the heat off on that. Our oil has got to be close. I mean, after all, didn't we find somewhere in the world that there was actually a naturally created, self-regulated nuclear reaction occurring, where the water coming in and out over the year was regulating what was occurring in the natural soils? I wouldn't want to eat any of that. We're getting close here on our temp. $320-ish. Might as well add these back into the drink. If I can call this drink, is just about anything liquid drink, by definition. So like calling this into the soup. Alright, we get this out for that action. Let's get this out with some paper towel on it for putting finished chicken on. And I think we're starting into frying here. One last toss in the flour. I'm going to start in with some of our larger pieces. Didn't quite fit all of them in there for that batch. It was getting a little too close with all the bubbling for me to try and throw all of them in there, so I gave up. Just start oven to keep warm temp, 170-ish, which is the lowest my oven goes. I hadn't thought about it. I complain about this oven not going very low. I would not be surprised if newer ovens only go to like 190 or 200. Nice. Like, I would love to have a proper keep warm temperature. Like, The thing is no manufacturer wants the liability of someone putting it in there and said, well, it was in the oven. It cooked, didn't it? You know, you can't have that 140 degree keep warm temp, or 120. Is it 120 or 140? Ooh, ads. I forgot. I didn't even notice we went to those. I didn't hear my alert. I honestly forget. Is it? Well, the danger zone is 100 is 4140. But you also don't have to maintain that temperature once you've brought it up to that temperature for hot holding. And I can't remember if it's 140 that you have to continue to maintain, or if you can have to maintain it at 120 below after you have initially achieved 165, depending on what you're doing. Like, for those of you that don't know, legally buffets can leave food out forever as long as they leave them at the right temperature. You just have the new batch on top of the old batch, give it a stir up, and put it back out. Cross pans. True. I said that wrong. You're supposed to take the new pan of new made stuff in a fresh, clean pan, pour the old pan on top of it, and then serve it. But if you aren't changing pans, You can just leave a pan out there at proper hot holding temp forever by law. Now, laws are state by state. Is there some state out there that has some exception to that? I would hope. But to my knowledge, there isn't. And in California, where they love to make laws and never enforce them, I don't know of any of those on the book. So we're getting rid of our lovely liquid. I'm also not saying that you're going to do great as a buffet if you never change anything. I'm just saying that there is the potential out there for sleazeball companies and companies not paying enough attention to what they're doing. That's a big one. I've talked before about how a lot of bars are owned by people that like the idea of owning a bar and have no real idea of how to run one. And they may have money to keep it alive, but they're hemorrhaging out to the bartender who's stealing from them. And the prep cooks just order whatever they need without looking what their current inventory is. Same thing for a buffet properly changing up its food. Except with that one, you get into the category of, do I throw this potentially good food by someone's eyes out? Or do I leave it out there and actually potentially make a sale instead of losing money on this food I've already spent labor and money on? Like, it is really hard to be a food business and watch food get trashed. You do everything you can to prevent that. There's the other big boy. There's two big ones here that I want to make sure get the most time here. Oh, that other big one might have been two together. Oh, well, we'll start with the big ones, though. Oh, let's check our temp before we start frying again. We lose too much temperature there. Oh, we're over 300. What, you like chunky soup? Chunky soup your thing? How did they think that was going to be a good name for a food product when they came out with that company? Like, Campbell's, like, it's worked, it's been around for ages, but Chunky does not sound like an attractive product, in the words of McDonald's. Alright, going in from our third of 4 fries here, probably. Yeah, definitely third of 4. Last one going in there, though, that batch. Yeah, that doesn't sound appetizing to me either, Skeleton. Gonna go ahead and throw these lovelies here down in the oven. Is anyone out there worked a fried chicken finger station? Maybe worked an app station or something like that in the past? There's something along the lines of like streamer brain for that station, where, and you'll see like the ones that handle that station typically the best are the ones that are a little most loopiest. It used to be the bread bakers were the ones, and they may still be, but apps is. Anyways, that station also has a tendency to be very slow at times. And so I think the quality of chicken fingers greatly varies depending on how bored the app cook is. And the app cook being bored is not conducive to having a good chicken finger experience. For example, one of the app cooks that I worked with when I was down in LA was not very well off. And his gig, when he was tight on a little cash here and there, whenever he had free time and wasn't working in that kitchen, he was in that kitchen all the time. He would go down on Venice Beach, walk on the beach, and ask people to staple money to him. He had like one of those signs that he would carry around. That's your, in my experience, that is sort of your typical app station cook. This was before TikTok and before I was streaming and all of that. I imagine he might have a very interesting life now with the world of streaming and TikTok. I gave these ones a little bit longer because they are largely a lot larger. Chat's checking timestamps. Like, no you didn't. Well, it seemed that way. These going down in the oven. Giving the chicken one more dust up here before we go in with our last batch to fry. Give this a moment to catch back up. We're pushing this oil tonight. It's going to need a good straining after this. I want a proper laminator. I don't have one. I've been looking here and there for some sort of option. There are some cheaper options these days, but yeah, it just seems oddly too expensive for something that's just two rollers that you can adjust the height on. But they're expensive. Even the, like, this is for the home foldable use once or twice dealies. They're pricey. I've even done things like look at like slab rollers for pottery makers and other tools that are similar that I could maybe make food safe? No. All cost an arm and a leg. Alright, I'm going with it. Again, starting with the largest pieces of the batch. Ditch the last of our flour. Okay, we got that going. Let's go ahead and turn our onions and peppers back on to do our spinach, or to do our broccoli here. This pan with the onions and pepper, add some lemon juice, some soy sauce, Now we got that up to a boil on the other side here. I'm going to add our frozen broccoli in there. And do a little steam action. chicken. Now see, that one I expect. I can understand my chat not having much love for vegetarian. Hi. Alright, last of the chicken going down in the oven. Or all of the chicken, rather. Today is National Frozen Foods Day, or Frozen Food Day, and it's also White Chocolate Cheesecake Day. I made the executive decision that I don't need a cheesecake. Okay, I think we're there with steaming the broccoli, so I am going to take that off, but I am going to put the steam side up because I don't want all that water from the steam to get in with my oil. But the oil will nicely keep that pan warm enough and dry it out so that the water isn't an issue for the pan. Now we're going to let that little bit of water that's left in there, liquid that's in there, cook off. And cook a quick couple seconds here. Turn the heat back up. Get ourselves a plate. Let's check out our rice here. Let's see. Have we had a rice success or rice failure here? Ooh, that looks like a success. Oh yeah, that's looking lovely. Rice is set. Put a lid on the rest of this. Wow, that's still bubbling, huh? I guess the broccoli was still released in liquid. This is frozen broccoli, so like I do want to make sure that this does get fully cooked. That's something you do want to make sure versus fresh. It's a little like working with a solid cut of meat versus ground meat. Frozen veg, you very much want to get up to full temperature. Fresh veg, you want to make sure it's properly cooked, but you can be a little more, like you can leave the center pink. You can... Good night, kiddo. If you're probably already long gone, though. Okay, I'm calling that there. Last things, we need our bowl for tossing our chicken, and we need some green onion. Starting with the green onion. Get chicken. Gotta take the safety seal off the sauce. This sauce seems slightly oily. Does smell like gochujang. Tastes like gochujang. I'm okay with that. That's half decent. We'll do broccoli, pepper, and onion over on this half. A few black sesame seeds over the broccoli. A few white sesame seeds over the broccoli. We'll lift our rice cup out. And green onion it. And here we have our dinner for Friday night. I just realized why you're probably dead. Where is your charger at? Oh, hey, there we go. My OG camera may be back. Wish I could. Need to invent a transporter. Transporter, teleporter. Hey, Jean-Ray. Are you going to turn on now? Wow. I looked for some furikake to put on top of the rice, but there wasn't any of the pepper flake seasoning. I haven't found that for a while. I found that once, and I don't remember where I bought it. But it's one of the staples of Korean foods. I just don't have the proper pepper flake. That'd look great with a little red pepper flake on top of that rice, too. their pepper flake is still pepper flake, but I don't think it's as bold as maybe our typical red pepper flake here in the States. But I think this is where we are going to leave things for this fine evening. I hope you have all had a great Friday. Oh, look at that network signal now, straight as an arrow. Doing much better now. Looking who's out there tonight. Not a ton in food and drink. There's a few other potentials here. I think I'm going to leave it there for tonight, though. I think I'm going to not read out tonight. I'll look forward to seeing all your lovely faces back here on Sunday, when we're doing Alaska. Give me ideas in the Discord. I still haven't decided for sure what I'm doing on Sunday. Talked about it earlier. There's really only two dishes that are really well known for their, salmon in all of its forms, and Eskimo ice cream, which I am not doing Eskimo. I'm not doing reindeer fat with snow and berries. Give that to your favorite challenge food eater. But we need to come up with something for Alaska. So please, if you have ideas, thoughts, you've been an Alaskan before, you are an Alaskan, we'd love to hear your thoughts. We got plans for next week. What we got going on Monday? Nothing in the calendar. Awesome, Jay. Way to plan ahead. Way to be, yeah. But I will be streaming on Monday as well. I hope you have a great weekend. Go out, cause some good trouble. I wish you the best. Good night.